Hi guys, welcome. What we're doing is going over the steps for our web. You have the other video that has steps 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to show you 4 and 5, but I am going to start from the beginning. So step number 1 is to create an object that tells us about you. I did a donut, as you know, is because I used to decorate cakes at Baskin Robbins / Dunkin' Donuts. And I used to actually make them for Winn-Dixie. So that's my version of who I am. And you see I drew it empty, and you can go back and fill it in later. So that's step 1. Step 2 was to take and have lines coming away from your object. So you take your lines and you have it coming away from your object and coming towards your object. You know you have too many lines. If it's going to take you forever to finish it, you know you probably have too many lines. So you balance that out. You decide and problem solve what's too many and what's not enough, but they are coming at an angle towards our object and coming at an angle away from our object. We call that emphasis because we're drawing our attention to our object, because remember, this is about us. Right? Do this in a ghost line if you have to before you get to the final mark, and you can also use a ruler. So if you would like to take and use a ruler for this, by all means do so. Take your ruler, line it up, draw it, and always hold your ruler here and draw a line. Okay? That's another way. Or you can just free draw and do some visual measuring. I did use a ruler for this. The next step is to color it in. When you choose the colors for that, remember we are using the primary colors back here, so you want to maybe use the secondary colors on the inside or some color that is not red, yellow, and blue, the primary colors. Again, to draw emphasis because we are using the primary colors back here. I did use some pink, and it might look like pink on the screen, and a little bit of gold. So that's what I have. I have a little gold on it. The next thing is to actually draw, in this step, is to draw ghost lines around your object. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can actually see that, because a ghost line is a light line. So I actually have to zoom in really tight, focus, and my line is still so light. I did an awesome job at that. So I'm going to darken it just a little bit for you. My line is right here. And that's what a ghost line is. A ghost line is a line that we draw lightly, that we have to actually zoom in to see it. We can see it from where we're sitting at, but for someone else from far away, they won't be able to see it. So that we can be able to erase it and it's not there anymore. So that's the whole purpose. And I think if I darken my screen a little bit, you'll be able to see it just a little better. Yep, there it is. Okay, so it's right there. So that's a ghost line. And when I erase it, it is gone. Right? We did that all the way around. I'm going to darken these just a little bit for you so that you can actually see these and zoom back out. Just get rid of that. So let me darken these. There's still a ghost line. I'm just going to draw a darker version. So I went around the circle. That was the next step. So the next step was to go around the circle. And what happened was last year when we were doing this, I couldn't figure out the kids were having really a hard time trying to get it, get the web even. And so we drew a ghost line around it. So I said, hey, let's put some circles in there. Draw a circle all the way around. And then when it comes off the page, that's okay. We call that an invisible line, and we keep going. Keep going. So we do invisible and actual lines in art. Keep going all the way around. And it's just a ghost line. So we have that one. Then we're going to do it again. So we have this second row right here. Looks like a wave, like somebody threw a puddle in a pond and then it rippled. So little ripples. Let's do our last one. So our last one is right here. And you, just like if it's a, ghost line, an invisible line, you keep going and say, hey, where can it end up next? Oh, over here. Then we offer paper. Hey, where can it end up next? And then over here, and keep going until you run out of room. And I usually like to use my finger as a guide. So I take my finger, and when I'm getting ready to do this, like the first one, I just kind of eyed it. But the second one, I kind of like took my finger, put it here, marked it so that I could actually see where I need to draw my lines, and then marked it. So we call it visual measuring because we do visual measuring, right? Now, we're done with that. We have our ghost lines. Next step is to take and get rid of the ghost lines. The ghost lines were a guide for us. Now we need to draw that webby part that's in our line, in our spider web. We take, and wherever there was a ghost line is, we erase it, and we connect from one side to the other. I'm just going to connect from this web that I start over here to that one. So erase it, connect it from one side to the other. Erase it, connected from one side. And there's many different ways you can do this. This is the one that I realize it works for our students. There's many different ways you can draw a web. If you got a way to do it, then go for it, because art is about you creating the way that you know how. And we keep going here. And remember to erase it so nobody has to know our little technique that we need. And if they do, it's okay. We can share. Share is caring in this aspect. As we go all the way around, and this one is completely finished. This one's another one I did in another class. It's a balloon. You can see we have our web. It's gone all the way around, and we get our nice lines that we have. We have a curved line, so we're using lines in this project as well as colors and shapes. All right. Last thing is we need to plan out where we want to put our pattern. And these little dots here, mine's are darker than you need to make yours. Yours needs to be like a ghost line. So you take and put dots where you think you want the design. If you look, those dots right there are all I had here. Then I was looking at it and I said, you know what? I want some more. So I added some little check marks just for myself to let me know, hey, I want some more. And what happened here is, oops, is because I was trying to do every other one. Every other one usually works. But I got excited and just started planning and didn't see it. And I liked the way that was and went back. And that's what you do. You problem solve. And you go back and say, hey, what do you like? Not what do anybody else like? What do you like? And I wanted to do every other one, but I just left it. So when we make mistakes in art, we can change it. We can cover it up, or we just have to live with it. In this case, we're just going to live with it. And then I said right here, I had made a mark for me to want to put something there. I said, no, I'm not going to put anything there. So left that. And that's what my little oops are. I want to add one here, a little check mark there, a little check mark. And this is just my rough draft that I had going on. And that's what I did. So now I've got it where I want it. I want to start drawing my patterns. We practiced before we start this. We drew some little triangles and we did patterns in it. And you want to choose something that's not too simple. That's pretty simple. So that can be added with something else maybe in the pattern. We definitely want to mix it up and get a nice little creativity, something unique going on in there using the red, yellow, and blue. So if you want to do that, draw you some triangles, practice out your patterns. Like I said, we did that before we even started the project. That was our brainstorming time. And then another class, we drew some rectangles like Piet Mondrian had in his artwork and drew some patterns in it. So either way, whether you do the web kind of helps you have an idea of what it's actually going to look like, or you do the triangles with the patterns, you can still add those to your design. And the primary colors are what's important from all colors. All colors are made from the primary colors, which is why we're focused on them in this unit. And the secondary colors are what we have in the middle on our object, because that's going to give emphasis, right? It's going to give contrast. We're showing a difference by doing that. By putting our secondary colors on our object, then we actually showing a contrast. We're showing knowledge of our secondary colors also, as they are the opposites of our primary colors. And it takes two primary colors to make a secondary color. So we learned that red and yellow makes orange, and blue and yellow make green, and that red and blue make purple. Now we're taking that knowledge and using it in our artwork. So here's one of my patterns that I created. You can see here where I took my inspiration that I had here and I used it in here. And it's going to change a little bit, or you could draw it exactly the same. It's totally up to you. So everywhere I have my little dots, I go back and put my patterns. Everywhere I have my little dots, I go back and put my patterns. And remember, make sure your dots are ghost lines so you can erase them, because I had a dot in here, but it disappeared. I erased it. It's gone, right? And then step back and look at it like I did for my other one where I had my little cupcake. And I said, you know what? I want some more. And decide. But you do want to have some white spots, because Piet Mondrian, remember, we are being inspired by him. He actually did have some white things, negative space in his project to kind of like make it pop, make it stand out, right? Also, when you're done with it, after you get them all drawn in, you're going to need a black marker, crayon, or whatever you use. And we want to cover up all of our pencil lines. So cover up all of our pencils. And you see I've used different subjects here because I'm still using these as working models, these particular ones in here. So not all of them are colored in. But we do see one with my balloon, because I used to help my friend be a party planner, and I help with decorations, use my art in other areas. And I really enjoyed that. So you see here I use lines to actually go inside of it, whereas the other one I use shapes. And we have some thin lines and some thick lines, right? You don't always have to have your lines filled in. You can have some empty and you can have some positive, but you want to make sure you have a nice balance. Here you can see this was my original pattern here. It was all positive. And I said, you know what? I want to change it a little bit. So I went in and added that, and all I did was do this pattern again, because I already did it in marker when I saw it. So I did it again so it can have like this kind of balance to it. And if not, I would just live with it because it has red, yellow, and blue. So it's blending. It's blending. And here we see one with the other pattern that I had with my little cupcake from when I had a cake business. And we have my triangles and some of my organic shapes in there. And I did do that one every other one. That was my little mistake I was telling you about, where I said, oops, I forgot to do every other one. See here? And is there? So that's what that is. But keep it going, right? Monitor and adjust, move on. And it works out great. I hope this helps, and have fun doing this. Relax, put your own little spin in. I had somebody draw a spider in here because they wanted to have a spider, and this one still doesn't have the black lines in it because, again, these are working models, and I'm using this for another class. I want to make sure it's show, but cover up all your pencil lines. Get rid of your pencil lines, and plus Piet Mondrian had black, and we want to emulate some of his ideas into our picture, and plus we want to get rid of our pencil lines. Now, somebody took and did blue. And they took and put dark blue lines, whatever dark color you want. Obviously, yellow's not going to cover it up. Somebody drew light enough and they had red. So be creative about it. Have fun. Maybe you want to put some other version of red, yellow, and blue in here and cover up the lines. Do it. Be unique and enjoy yourself, and always be art smart. Remember, if I can do it, you can also do it too. Have fun.